It's about time with Rashawn's About Time Boxing, aka Mr. Trill 100 Mil. What's up? To my About Time Boxing family, Trill 100 Mil gang. Y'all know my spill, man. I gotta say it because I appreciate everybody who take out the time to watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, and leave the comments, man. Even if you don't like what I put up and you still leave a comment, hey, listen, I appreciate you too. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and encourage others to subscribe to Rashawn's About Time Boxing. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can stay up on the latest. Quick, I want to give a shout out to my guy, my bro, man, Rebel Life Boxing. Please support his channel, subscribe to his channel. That's my guy, man. He always dropping, always giving up dope content. Been doing it from day one. So I've been rocking with him, man. I need, y'all support my guy, Rebel Life Boxing. And support my guy, Mark Nash, man. Shout out to Mark Nash. Mark Nash was, he was one of the first people to show me love on my channel. And I think at that time, I was only at like 300 subscribers, you know what I mean? And Mark Nash, shot me a message and, and gave me some, some words of encouragement, man. And, it was just like, just keep doing what you're doing, bro. So, I'll never forget that. So I always appreciate my guy, Mark Nash, man. Appreciate him. Shout out to my guy, man, Real Deal, bro. I appreciate you too, man. And everybody else, man, that rock with me and support the channel, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. If you want to donate to the channel, you can donate Cash App at Rashawn's About Time Boxing, BOXIN. If you want to, help support the channel, so, and I appreciate y'all, man. So we got, so Gervonta Davis, man, and Frank Martin, it's a lot of things like going on, like surround, like not a lot of things going surround, but it's just, a lot of the scales are like, some people, you got some people who feel like Frank Martin can actually win this fight. I've even heard and seen videos where some people were saying that Frank Martin can actually stop Tank, Now, the one thing I will say about Frank Martin, if y'all looked at his fights, when he rehydrates, though, you see how, you see how big he looked. Like, Frank Martin, when he rehydrates, he looks, he looked big. He almost looked like a, like a junior welterweight, borderline welterweight when he, rehydrate. Now, I don't know what the rehydration clause is in this fight, but, and if y'all, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all saw, if y'all saw the press conference, so y'all know, when Gervonta Davis, a lot of times you hear him tell fighters, you're a front runner. And what, if y'all don't know what he's referring to, what he's saying is like, he's telling them like, you show up in the first half of the fight and you start to fall off or you start to fade off in the second half of the fight. And that's what he told Rolly too. You're a front runner. He's, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to take you in deep waters and I'm going to drown you. You know what I'm saying? So, but now both guys are 29 years old. Frank Martin is 29 years old. Gervonta Davis is 29 years old. But Frank Martin is 18-0. with 12 knockouts. And Tank is 29-0 with 27 knockouts, I believe. Now, Leonard Ellerbe, when he was on the podium and he was like addressing, he was talking about, in 2017, he said, he said, what Gervonta Davis was doing? He became world champion. He said in 2017, he said, Frank Martin wasn't even pro yet. You know what I mean? But it's a little truth to that. Frank Martin actually turned pro in 2017. I think it was October of 2017 is when he actually turned pro. So it was late 2017, but he made his pro debut in 2017 when Gervonta Davis was actually becoming world champion. So, I get what he's saying because Tank turned pro in 2013. Okay, he turned pro. And so he has, a 4-year, edge on Frank Martin, and he's been a busier fighter. Gervonta has been a busier fighter. Now, my personal take on the fight is I have Gervonta Davis stopping Frank Martin, late stoppage. And this is no disrespect to Frank Martin, or to his, because I think Frank Martin is a good fighter. But in his last fight, he fought the guy Artem Hardatunian, and he got hit with a couple body shots, and you can see that those body shots bothered him. But to his credit, he took them. Like, he didn't fold, he didn't go down, or anything like that. He fought Michel Rivera, dropped him in the fight. But that was kind of like I think it was more or less like a flash knockdown when he knocked down Michel Rivera, because it kind of seemed like, he was kind of like off balance, like kind of squared up when Frank Martin threw the first shot, caught him clean, but the second one didn't really catch him, and he was just like kind of squared up and off balance, and then he went down. But nonetheless, the referee counted it as a knockdown. But all in all, Frank Martin, he lacks experience. And I'm not going to say he's a front runner, but now, again, don't get me, like, Frank Martin, he has good footwork. He does. Frank Martin has good footwork. He's fast, but think about another southpaw who was fighting at 126, who had good footwork, and they started out fast, but sometimes they would fade off in the second half of the fight. That's Gary Russell Jr. Mr. Gary Russell Jr., as he, calls himself. But, that's how he would be, come out, and I mean, he had one of the quickest, sharpest jabs, you know what I mean? And at one point, I actually used to like to watch Gary Russell, earlier in his career and stuff, when he was like coming up through the pro ranks and all that. But Frank Martin, I believe, listen, he's going to give a good showing of himself in the fight. And he'll probably have his moments. But the thing, again, I always say this, and people don't pay attention to this. I always say this. Gervonta Davis does not get credit for being a really good boxer and a skilled boxer. He does not get credit for it. Why? Because people only, they watch his fights and they wait for the knockout. But they don't pay attention to the skill level, the skill set that he displays that leads up to the knockout. People don't pay attention to that. But if you really watch Gervonta Davis fight, he really can box. This boy can box his ass off. He can fight. Tank can fight. This dude, Tank can rumble. For real. Like, he can fight for real. But he don't get the credit for it. A lot of people say, oh, he fight in spots, he do this, he do that. See, and the other thing about Tank is too, Gervonta Davis, he don't panic in no fights. It doesn't matter if everybody else is saying that, whoever he's in there with, they up on the scorecards. Tank is calculated, man. He set traps and he line you up for that shot. And he has that innate type of strength, that one punch. He can hurt you. He can hurt you to the body. You know what I mean? You see, if y'all saw the press conference, he told Frank Martin, he said, look, I'll mess around and break your jaw. He said, I'm going to open all this up. And he can do it. Again, because he's been the busier fighter and he has the experience. And honestly, like, part of me believe that Frank Martin took this fight for the money that he's making too. I'm pretty sure this is the most money that he's making to date in his career. You know what I mean? Because he said the reason the fight didn't happen with Shakur Stevenson came down to money. So that's telling you right now, of course, and Errol Spence is his promoter. So, Spence Spence probably was in his ear and told him, like, man, I don't take that fight, man. They ain't, you know what I mean? You should be getting paid X amount of dollars, But I don't know how much money you can actually want or expect to get paid, and you don't even have over 20 professional fights yet. And you don't really have no names on your resume to your credit, like anybody that you can say that you actually, that you beat, or any wars that you've been in to demand, a certain amount of money. I don't know if he wanted like $1 million or something like that, or $1.5 million somewhere. I mean, listen, if y'all know exactly what it was he was asking for in the fight, drop the comments in the comment section below. Fill me and let me know. I just know that the fight didn't happen because it was money that Frank Martin, was asking for. Again, the biggest name on his resume is Michel Rivera. That's the biggest name, is that, if it's, like most people didn't really know who Artem Hardatunian is. Some people know Jackson Marinez is. I think this was the guy who fought Rolly, gave Rolly some problems. But, it's really Michelle Rivera. But, when you look at Gervonta Davis' resume, I mean, where you want to, Leo Santa Cruz, Yuriorkis Gamboa, Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia, Hector Garcia. You know what I mean? You can even throw Jose Pedraza in there, Mario Barrios, Isaac Cruz. He caught heat over that, but like these is, he has the better resume, and his pedigree of boxing is definitely levels above Frank Martin. And I believe in the second half of the fight, it's going to show. Like I said, Frank Martin, he's going to have his moments in the fight. He will. At times, he'll have his moments. But I do believe he's going to start to fade off in the second half of that fight, especially once Tank start to touch him and he see just how good Gervonta Davis really is. And he can try to go punch for punch. Frank Martin has 12 knockouts. Gervonta Davis has 27 knockouts. So, I mean, that right there, speaks for itself right there. The difference in Tank has a 90+% knockout ratio. You know what I mean? So, and, I believe he took the fight simply because of the money. And at some point, just like when Ray Flores, or I don't want to get his name, but the guy who was who was doing the press conference and stuff, he was asking Frank Martin about did any of this stuff hit him or not. And Frank Martin was like, honestly, I don't believe none of it really hit me yet. He was like seeing his name up there on everything. He said he didn't believe everything, it didn't hit him yet. And he said, oh, it's not going to hit him till after he gets on the he said until he get the win. But, again, this is no disrespect to Frank Martin. And I do believe, like, even though I believe he's going to lose this fight, if he doesn't let this break him or affect him mentally or emotionally or psychologically, and he stay his course, then he'll be a champion. But it's just not going to be on that night against Gervonta Davis. It's just not going to happen. And some people would say that he's under the right promotion, man down promotion, because his promoter got put down by Terrence Crawford, and Tank is possibly about to put that man down. So, some people, arguably would say he was the right. His promoter got knocked out, and he's going to get knocked out. So, but again, I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Drop the comments in the comment section below. I want to know how y'all feel about this thing. Like, do y'all think Frank Martin really has a chance? I mean, all right, so we know about, there's been upsets in boxing. When Roy Jones first got knocked out, when Tarver knocked him out, Mike Tyson got knocked out by Buster Douglas, and you know what I mean? Like, we hear about these things all the time. Upsets do happen in boxing. Even Gervonta Davis said that, you got to worry about, what they can do to you, or, you can have an off night, you know what I mean? You can have an off night, or, but this is what, fighters work hard for. But if you want to try to analyze what an off night for Tank would be, then you can choose to fight with Isaac Cruz. You can say that was an off night for him, and he still got the win. But again, he displayed boxing skill, and I think he hurt his hand, so he had one hand, and he boxed with one hand, and still got the win. So again, it shows you that he can adapt, he can adjust, okay? He can adapt, he can adjust on the fly. Frank Martin has yet to be tested with those things yet, and he hasn't been in any wars, okay? And then come fight night, when he's walking down that tunnel and he get in that ring, I'm telling you, he could get overwhelmed, by the moment, and realize like, damn, all right, now at the press conference and all that, and maybe Frank Martin is just one of them guys. Maybe he's not shook, maybe he's not shook. Maybe he believe that he's really up for the task. Maybe he really do believe it. But just looking at Errol Spence body language and Derrick James and just the way that they was responding to comments and stuff, he gonna get, he gonna be the best version of himself. He gonna, and even though they were saying like, yeah, 1,000% we gonna come out and get the win, blah blah blah. Derrick James said that about Terrence Crawford when Errol Spence fought him, and look how that went. You know what I mean? He said that about Jamel Charlo and Canelo, and look how that went. You see what I'm saying? Like, so the only one who really, got a win, and that's questionable, is Ryan Garcia against Devin Haney, and we know he was juicing. You know what I mean? So we know how that whole thing played out. So, again, like, you can't, you can only speculate, or try to dive into the fighter's mind, try to get a sense or a feel, look at their body language and see, what they may be feeling, or what they, how they, what they, how they feel, or what they may be thinking. Some people may say that the way Tank was acting at the final press conference was nervous energy, but I don't see it as that. I didn't see it as nervous energy. That's just Tank like, listen, I've been here before. This your first rodeo, but I've been here before. I know what it takes. I'm not sweating none of this. I'm not worried about it. That's the way I took it. And this is the first time for Frank Martin. And again, that lack of experience. He hasn't been through no wars. He don't have no names on his resume. And Gervonta Davis is going to be the biggest name on his resume, but when you look under the column, it's going to possibly say, KO loss to Gervonta Davis, June 15th, 2024. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but I mean, how many of y'all really think Frank Martin is up for the task? Or, and I'm not saying, again, I don't want nobody to misunderstand or misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Frank Martin is not up for the task. That's not, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's not up for it. But Gervonta Davis is a different type of animal, man. He's different. He's different. And a lot of fighters, that been in there with him, you know what I mean? It's kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like that thing with when Diego Corrales, may he rest, you know what I mean? But when he fought Floyd Mayweather, when they fought at 135, I believe it was. And when they asked him about Floyd, he said, listen, don't be deceived by his size. He said he hits a lot harder than people think. And Tank, trust me, the knockouts speak for itself. And the lack of experience from Frank Martin speaks for itself too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just, like I said it enough. I can't say it again. Frank Martin will have his moments, but it's not going to be enough for him to come out with the win. But anyway, this is all I got for now. Y'all drop the comments in the comment section below and let me know what y'all think about Frank Martin versus Gervonta Davis.